Yeah. Well, it will be fascinating. We hear that Ginny Thomas is actually going to come out and testify at some point. Don't know when, but she's agreed to testify. Look, this is. I think what we know is if the people who think that this will turn the election are getting it wrong, but the people who also feel that it will have no impact on the election are getting it wrong. So I do think it's good. I do think it's helpful for Democrats. It's helpful for the country, and I think the thing that really makes it so that we do realize that it might have a greater impact on the election than the naysayers think is the fact that protecting democracy is surprisingly polling very high in most public opinion polls. Again, I think it by itself, without any kind of strong legislative agenda, without some of the stuff going on with Roe and infrastructure and climate, I think January 6th by itself doesn't move. But January 6th, as part of that larger, that's next to the larger policy package and the whole issue of choice, I think it definitely could impact what happens in November.
I completely agree, John. It's. I always said this, and I always believe this. It's not necessarily one thing that's going to get people going. It's just the constant reminder of what we're facing. This is what Republicans do so well: is continuous problem after problem after problem after problem. And the border crisis, gas prices, formula, inflation, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. He fell off a bike. Now they're going with I forgot what it was today, but the 401k thing was like a thing, and et cetera, right? Republicans are really good at making stuff stick, driving the conversation. If they started with the border crisis 2 years ago, it wasn't going to last 2 years, right? So they just have to continue to bring up things. And this is why I think the January 6th Commission is important, because um, it's just another thing, right? You could hit them with Roe. You could hit them with actual good things that we've done. You could hit them with Trump and the DOJ and all the charges. You could hit them with them going after choice, the immigration thing that they're doing with busing people across the country. You could continue to hit them, and then here comes the January 6th committee right before the election to hit them even more. I think it's all going to use a sports analogy, it all moves the ball downfield. Whatever gets you the touchdown is going to get it, but you still have to move the ball downfield. Now, with that being said, I don't know what the 28th is going to hold. I don't know if there's any bombshells left. What I do know is if Ginny Thomas is testifying, if we know that they have now Secret Service emails and texts. I don't know how many, but from what I understand, they have a lot of information from Secret Service they didn't have before. I showed you this clip right before we started recording about, or you sent it to me about, there was a phone call from the White House to a January 6th protester. So I'm a little worried that it might not be as devastating or bombshelly as it was, as season one was. But there's one X factor that we're not talking about enough, and that's what I'm calling Dark Cheney, right? The sequel to the original Dark Cheney. She lost her primary. She's not going to be in Congress starting in January. I wouldn't be surprised if she goes off on the 28th and drops something pretty spectacular as far as bombshells go. So I'm excited because, one, you said it right. It's good for the country to hold people accountable. It's right around election time, and I think it helps Democrats show what the other side is. And I'm excited. Frankly, I cannot wait. My popcorn's ready, as Terrell Owens would say.